Final Four basketball, everybody. Rock, chalk, rock, chalk, rock, chalk, rock, chalk. Sister Jean's hot. Rock, chalk. Sister Jean rocks. Rock, chalk. Jay Bird. Have you heard Loyola's gonna eat some worms and then regurgitate them in your mouths? Because it's the mama bird now, and just when you try and swallow that worm puke thinking this is the worst it's ever gonna get, Sister Jean's gonna snap your little bird beaks and fry your brains and feathers until your feathers are charred black, like a blackbird. The worst of all the birds, and she will do it with school spirit and the unadulterated power of basketball Jesus alone. Die, birds, die! Final Four, you're about to get Final fucked! Jayhawks.
By the way, Loyola is playing Michigan in the Final Four, not Kansas.
Well, Sister Jean has no special abilities in Michigan, just like Jim Harbaugh.
They're playing in Texas. I'm TJ Carpenter, and he's geographically confused. This is What the Sports, where we almost cover the most important sports news of the week. Well, how long do I have to sit in this tiny chair, by the way?
Oh, that's a good question, TJ. For every minute that you were late today, which by my watch is 46 and a half minutes. Yeah, now you can get in a big boy chair, TJ. Before we do March Madness and Stormy Daniels, and yes, porn is a sport. It requires stamina, hand-to-genital coordination, and a willingness to go all of the way. I wanted to mention that the Los Angeles Rams have signed the big fish defensive tackle Ndamukong Suh to a 1-year, $14 million deal.
Suh is now on his third team, making it easier to complete his quarterbacks I've wounded emotionally punch card. He adds Jimmy Garoppolo and Russell Wilson to the list, and he receives a free domestic garbage crusher. Retail value 14,000 rupees. Now you can only purchase these bad boys in India, and I'll be honest, I don't know what the conversion rate on that is. Also, it should be of note, no sacks on Sam Bradford will count towards the punch card, as he is already permanently wounded emotionally.
The Rams' defense now consists of Suh, Aaron Donald, the best defensive player in the NFL, Aqib Talib, Marcus Peters, John Johnson III, LaMarcus Joyner, Michael Brockers, and Nickel Roby-Coleman. There's more attitude on that defense than the cafeteria at an all-girls middle school.
An all-girls middle school? More like the green room at a DMX concert.
Have you ever seen the cafeteria of an all-girls middle school? Of course you haven't, because of your restraining orders. It's like watching a Nat Geo documentary on a colony of fire ants that wage war with another colony of even angrier fire ants. And one colony is led by Floyd Mayweather, and the other colony, Conor McGregor.
Well, if anyone knows about waging war against the future of America's women, it's Floyd Mayweather.
The craziest part, TJ, is the Rams haven't even reached critical sass. They're currently, reportedly, discussing trade talks with the Giants to acquire wide receiver Odell Beckham Jr. To say Odell is hungry for a new opportunity is an understatement. There's nothing that guy won't eat. And then we cut to him eating pizza and that girl's
pussy.
Yeah.
And in related news, the New York Giants have decided the best course of action moving forward for their football team is to adopt the Kmart Radio Shack business model. Trade away any and all valuable assets, streamline the labor force to increase quarterly profits. In 2019, the Giants will just be Orleans Darkwood trying to sell you cell phone cases and a Columbia House CD Club subscription.
Rob Gronkowski, a.k.a. Gronk, got drunk with Shaquille O'Neal, a.k.a. Shaq, in front of thousands of people over the weekend. I learned that Gronk only has one dance move: penetrate the air like it's an orifice, and that Shaq is the only man on earth who can make Gronk look petite. Even when Gronk was on Shaq's shoulders, all he could do was hump Shaq's neck. Shaq hasn't had a dick that close to his face since every week when he has to sit next to Charles Barkley.
In the octagon, MMA fighter Drew Chapman is reportedly feeling the shame after he performed a front flip off of the back of Irvin's Ayala, who was lying unconscious on the floor of the octagon. The victory was short-lived, as Chapman was disqualified for not sticking the landing on the front flip.
Front flips not allowed in MMA?
Disallowed!
What's next? Ronda Rousey believing Mike Golic brought her on his show to see if she is in fact a time-traveling cyborg from the future and or past?
When you knew in your mind, I'm not going to fight anymore.
I never said that.
Ah, so there is a possibility that you could go back in time?
There's a possibility that I could go back in time? That's your question to me?
Go back in time and fight. Go back in the octagon.
I do not have the ability to go back in time, no.
I guess someone didn't study the grandfather paradox. Maybe too many kicks to the face made Rousey forget that an extremely powerful gravitational field could, in principle, warp the space-time continuum and bend it backwards upon itself, creating a closed time-like curve, making traveling back in time far more possible than traveling into the future.
Well, thank you very much, Neil deGrasse Perna. Also, you need a flux capacitor in 1.21 gigawatts.
Just shut up, TJ. That's ridiculous. That's fiction. Again, I spent the week studying the tape. Last week it was Keenum, the tape. This week it was Stormy Daniels, the tape, to prep for her 60 Minutes interview. In the 60 Minutes interview, Stormy Daniels revealed that she spanked Donald Trump with a rolled-up Forbes magazine with his face on the cover, making it the first time she ever truly enjoyed performing ass-to-mouth. Stormy noted that Trump told her she reminded him of his daughter, and then they had sex. You know why I believe Stormy Daniels? Because he has said this shit before about his daughter.
I've said that if Ivanka weren't my daughter, perhaps I'd be dating her. You know.
Stop it! Oh, it's so weird.
Now, I've never been good with the ladies, TJ, but I know the last thing you want to tell a woman before you make love to her is that she reminds you of a family member. Especially if you say, your breasts remind me of my dad's penis.
Perhaps more shocking, POTUS didn't wear a condom while intersecting with a porn star. And I'm not the only one who found this shocking. So did legendary play-by-play man and America's creepy uncle, Brent Musburger. If anyone knows when to wrap it up, it's Brent Musburger. Add Stormy Daniels to the list of women Brent has publicly oodled, bringing the total to all of them. Next month, Brent is doing a Pornhub takeover where you can enjoy his customized playlist, You Are Looking Live, and All the Holes I'd Like to Penetrate, an anthology series by Brent Musburger. Brett Favre dick pic not featured.
If you watched the whole interview, which sucked by the way, then you were treated to a nice sports piece produced by 60 Minutes about Yanni Mutombo, the Greek freak of the Milwaukee Bucks. If he's not your favorite player in the NBA, you're wrong. Now I'm predicting he becomes the best basketball player to ever play the game. Sorry, LeBron, Jordan. And here's some evidence to prove my point.
I was the best.
The best.
Yeah.
Antetokounmpo is impressive. But I'd have to go with Joel Embiid, if for no other reason than his absolute fearlessness in sliding into attractive celebrities' DMs. And by celebrities, I mean Rihanna and then a horde of Instagram models and porn stars. The man is an inspiration.
Sticks and stones may break my bones, but chains and whips excite me. Rihanna.
Yes. March Madness has selected the Final Four. To get there, Kansas had to defeat Duke, the Chet of college sports teams. Picking who I want to win between Kansas and Duke is like asking who I'd want to sit on customer service with all day. Comcast or Bank of America? Shoot me in the fucking face.
I would love to, actually. And TJ, how dare you drag the name Mike Chevsky through the mud like that?
It's Mike Krzyzewski.
That's what I said.
No.
Mike Chevsky.
No, that's not right.
TJ, how about you spell it for me?
I don't think that would help.
This is why lacrosse players have such hot bods.
Do they?
Oh, fuck, they do.
Duke star Grayson Allen, who looks like King Joffrey if he had lived long enough to reevaluate his life choices, is now faced with a decision to go pro or not. If he does, he'll be entering the draft with LiAngelo Ball, who was saved from a Chinese prison by Donald Trump. Oddly enough, the likeliest landing spot for LiAngelo is the Beijing Fly Dragons, where he will be forced to share a locker room with Stephon Marbury, which is like being in prison if the guy who will eventually rape you in the shower is also the warden. Get used to it, LiAngelo. Between your conniving father and the real-life version of Debo from Friday, you're going to need to be a man who knows how to get things.
Also, I too am declaring for the NBA draft. That's all you have to do to get in, right? I declare for the NBA draft!
It's a Michael Scott joke.
I declare bankruptcy!
Former MLB All-Star and current contestant for The Biggest Loser, Albert Belle, was arrested in Scottsdale, Arizona over the weekend and was charged with 2 counts of indecent exposure and 2 counts of driving under the influence. Belle was arrested outside a Phoenix soccer stadium for allegedly urinating next to a parked car and then shaking his genitals at the car's owner and his 15-year-old daughter. In fairness to Belle, the father drives a Pontiac Aztek, so he was kind of asking for it.
He also went to a soccer game in Phoenix, which is also asking for it, Brandon.
Belle was known as one of the best power hitters in the MLB when he played. And after paint chips were discovered in his puddles of urine next to the car, Belle is now known as a power washer.
In prison, he'll be known as a power bottom. Now we'd like to do a brief mailbag here at the end of the show to address a couple of issues you've all had with us.
That sounds fun. I like to give back to the fans. TJ, well, he just wants to yell at you. And that's why we're calling this segment, TJ's Got Beef, with people who've got beef with TJ.
We start with this comment from Pimpin' Dead Ho on YouTube. Brandon, you should have shared a bowl of clam chowder.
Great question, Mr. Pimpin' Dead Ho. First of all, Progresso is a soup, not a chowder. A chowder has a much thicker consistency and in no way represents a liberal agenda. Get your facts straight, Pimpin' Dead Ho. How about you stick to sports next time? This one comes from Mr. Jakara. You are an idiot, and why you can't get a job. Duke was a 4-point dumb shit. Pretty strong words there, TJ.
Those are strong words. I've never heard of a team being a 4-point dumb shit before, except for the Jets. Look, this one's for you, Kansas fans. Stop acting like this was a hard thing for your team to accomplish, that this was somehow a great adversity for your team. Kansas is perhaps the most elite basketball program in the goddamn universe. They have an elite coach, elite players, elite facilities. They never lose at home, never lose the Big 12, and haven't missed the tournament since 1993. No one doubts you. You are a 1 seed. Just because you perennially underperform in the tournament most of the time doesn't mean when you do what you're supposed to, it should be considered a great accomplishment. This is like when 1%ers complain about how hard it is to be born rich and live rich, and then expect you to play along with how great their accomplishment was when they grow millions of dollars into even more millions of dollars. How about you shut the fuck up, Kansas? Unless you want to give me some of that money. Then I'll say whatever you want. I have no loyalty or integrity whatsoever. I can absolutely be bought. God is dead, and by my calculations, my rampant drug use and alcoholism, coupled with my dependence on validation from people on the internet, I've got 15 to 20 years max left, Brandon.
And that's our show.
You want to run through it again?
No.
Okay. Subscribe to us on YouTube and Facebook.
I have the disease where you want to fuck dead people. Grandma, bring me some more bull semen. My tummy hurts. Rock, chalk, sister, jeans, hot.
You misspelled chard. Forward for there, the teleprompter's moving in the opposite direction now. That's just fucking great.